Well, Sistas fans, I know this might be a bit of a controversial video in regards to characters on the show, in the show. I know it seems weird for me to do this, but I'm actually going to say that I give my full support to a Zach and Gary friendship / alliance due to the fact that I feel I praised Tyler Perry in my tweets last night for the night game, showing that you have successful black men. You got Bio, who reveals he owns an entire restaurant chain, franchise, whatever you want to call it. What's it called? The Wine Room, I think is the name of it. Basically, he owns all that. He's doing well for himself. We get the information finally that Gary is a hedge fund manager. I mean, early on in the series, it's like, oh, he's like a professional athlete and whatnot, but now we know what he does nowadays. I guess he was an athlete, but then he switched gears. But basically, he's a hedge fund manager. He helps those, who work in investing and that kind of stuff. And then you have Zach, who's good with stocks. And we have a new character introduced, Jake, who works with Gary. So just seeing a chain of strong. And when I say chain, I don't mean slavery chains. Don't take it out of context. When I say a chain, I mean like a bond between, 4 black men doing well for themselves. That's what I'm saying. Now, what do we know? Playing on the basketball court, it seems like Zach doing good. It's his first time out there for quite a while. So obviously this is the first time Gary has not just met Zach, but first time seeing him play ball. And from there, just kind of exchange information. I feel like it's because, Gary's like, hey guys, I got to go. It's like, hey man, what you do? Oh, hedge fund manager. Oh, good. I'm just starting in stocks and whatnot, and I could use some help. And from there, it's like, they kind of bond like, hey, let me go to my ride, get my card for you. And, you can give me a call whenever you have questions. And, they kind of have a moment. Yo, man, you got a sweet ride. Y'all, man, you got a good ride, too. Not as good as yours, but hey, man, I'm trying. You're going to get there, too, one day. So from there, it's like, hey, next time we ball, you're on my team again. And the next day, Zach gives Gary a phone call. And from there, he reveals the information about, hey, I put 19K on the stock. And now it's over like 1.2, 1.5, and I need some advice. It's about Bellanista. But he does not tell Gary how he got the stock intel. He just simply says, look, it was my first time. I guessed and I put all my money on it. As someone who's never played around in stocks whatsoever, I would agree. I mean, that would be my story because I don't know a damn thing about stocks. But I'll say this. If I were to look at the stock market, I wouldn't put 19,000 in it. I mean, maybe a few hundred or something like that just to kind of, test the waters. But, well, not even test the waters with a few hundred, maybe $50 here or whatever, just to kind of test it to get a gauge on it. But, yeah, he's like, I think he told the same thing to Natalie. I believe Natalie was the name of the person that works at the bank. That was pretty much Zach's contact, basically the person at the bank who helped him out with information on stocks. I just guessed. But in any case, he gets information about, do I keep it? Do you think it's going to last long? But, like Gary said, I think this stock still has some legs in it. So you could eat legs on it. So you can either sell out now. And then Zach's like, yeah, but if I do, won't I be missing out on a lot of money? And he's like, you know what? Let me pass you over to one of my guys, Jake. He's sitting in here with me right now. He's good at what he does. He can help you out with this information and take it to another level. So from there, Zach will text Gary. And Gary's going to send that intel to Jake. And Jake's going to be the point of contact. Now, to me personally, I understand it. If you've been a season 1 fan, well, hell, let's be honest here. Even if you haven't watched season 1 and you watch maybe about a good season and a half of Sisters, right off the bat, I can tell why people be like, Gary, nuh-uh, Zach, stay away from him. He ain't no good. Because you think back to season 1, a similar situation happened. Gary was like, hey, Andy, I forgot the name of the guy. But it was basically like Gary's like financial person, accountant or whatever. Give this person your account information because I need to move some money into your account. And then he did. Next thing you know, Andy's accounts were wiped. Then the feds came in and took everything. But then it was revealed that it was all an elaborate scheme by Bellamy, Andy's former boss, Morris and Jasmine to sabotage Andy and Gary. So things kind of reversed themselves, worked themselves out. But in any case, yeah, I can definitely see why people would think that Gary is up to no good. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I think Gary's on the up and up. Mainly due to the fact that I feel like what I said earlier in the video about Tyler Perry, showing us strong black men who are successful. I feel like this is a scene where we're going to see two black men just, work together. Basically, hey man, I'm going to watch out for you. You're a brother, I'm a brother, we good. Kind of like what Zach said on the basketball court. Yo man, it's good to talk for another brother about this kind of stuff because, white people, like, they'll explain it, but it's confusing. It's like, yo man, hey, I understand completely. So I just like the fact that we got Jake, who apparently, based off the character description, okay, Jake is an investing and financial whiz that works with Gary. He assists Zach with a stock he recently purchased, Melanista. He and Zach develop a close friendship, and this is a recurring character. Now, some people have said, hey, Jeremy, I think Jake is supposed to be in the Zatima series. I'm not 100% sure, but if he is, it actually makes sense. Now, going over to the character listings for Bill Watts. Bill Watts is a person that Hayden name dropped towards the end of season 3 when he was trying to find intel on how Zach got that stock. But in any case, Bill is a lawyer sent by Jake to help Zach with his arrest. And I believe he's going to get arrested for getting into it with Hayden in terms of a fight. So Bill is hired by Jake to help out Zach. Not only due to their friendship, most likely, but the fact that Zach is a essential client, because remember, Jake thanked Gary, hey man, thanks for looking out for me. No problem, brother. Basically in regards to like, hey, we got this guy Zach, he has a lot of money on stock, so if you can help him out, that's going to look good on our company, you as a representative, so this is all good. So Jake doesn't want to lose that, client employee relationship kind of thing. So I feel like Jake is going to help Zach out when he gets in a bind. And basically, Zach is going to have friends in high places that he didn't have before because of his financial status. So to be completely honest, I don't think Gary is going to screw over Zach. Like I said before, his past track record, I completely understand. But here's the thing though, this goes back to the basketball court. You notice how the guys just got along just fine. Like, even the little bit of drama between Aaron and Zach wasn't much. It's like, Zach's like, hey, we ain't play together. We just on the opposing teams. And then he just bounces. That's it. Now, it's just interesting to me how calm, cool, and collected the guys are without dealing with the women. All the mess they got going on. It just shows you, like on Bros, like the guys, there's some drama within the guys, but more often than not, the drama caused within the bruh group is usually due to the women. And if you watch season 2, Pam and Regina caused a lot of bullshit. So I thought it was interesting to see that a lot of people on Twitter, like even KJ, was like, nope, Gary and Zach friendship, nah. Just because you didn't have a good relationship or a good history with Gary doesn't mean Gary can't have a decent, friendship / working relationship with Zach. And I feel like kind of giving Gary a connection to Zach that will actually be beneficial to him is kind of a ploy Tyler Perry put into action to make Gary more likable, because anyone who does something that will help out either Zach and or Fatima, the fan favorite characters, should be, I guess you could say, restored in the eyes of all the other fans who hate them. It's like, you know what, Karen is awful because she's just getting in the way of Fatima's love. Gary's an awful character. I don't know why he's there. But Tyler set it up where now Gary is going to be an essential part of Zach's come up. And as a result, some fans might actually be singing the praises of Gary as opposed to hating him. Because remember, Cheeto talked about how his mom, is upset how fans hate the character and whatnot. And he feels like Gary can be redeemed. That's a good point. But here's the thing. Just because Cheeto wants Gary to be redeemed, it doesn't mean that it has to be with Andy. Gary could have a good dynamic with another character that isn't Andy, So I feel like, I know these are random TGIF examples, but I remember in interviews I would see on like ET and whatnot, back in the day where the cast of Full House, I think like some characters, I mean like John Stamos and whatnot, they would talk about how they didn't want to be in scenes with the Olsen twins when they were like really young when the first show started because, you know, they would poop and cry and whatnot. But then when they got a little older and they got a crap ton of popularity, because the Olsen twins back in the day, like, they were everywhere, popular. They had all those shows, the movies and whatnot. And cast were like, you know, begging to get scenes with them because obviously having scenes with, you know, fan favorite characters would give their character more time to shine. Kind of like, you know, on Family Matters. Yeah, there was the whole Steve Urkel took over the show kind of thing, but and there was some kind of behind the scenes drama. But you know what, if you were on a television show and your character was overall loathed, to kind of redeem that character in the eyes of the general public, or at least get more screen time, you would want that character to be, you would want your character to be in scenes with the fan favorite. And even better, have your character help out the fan favorite character. So to me, I feel like Zach linking up with Gary isn't a ploy to take money, isn't a ploy to screw Zach over. It's something that Tyler did. And I feel like Cheeto might have tapped Tyler. Hey, Tyler, I appreciate you for keeping me on the show. I really do. I know I don't even have to be here because my storyline has been done. But if you could do something to kind of revitalize Gary, that would be great. And this is it. Tyler showed us told us what Gary does for a living. He showed us what Gary does for a living. And he's put him in a position where, you know what? It's like they're playing a game of basketball. Zach passes the ball to Gary. And instead of taking the three-pointer, he passes up to Jake to make a free throw, and boom, they're all going to win. So, in a way, when it gets into the situation where Zach gets arrested for fighting Hayden, and then Jake sends Bill to get Zach off, you know, in terms of the charges, and it works. I guess it does because we know the team is going to happen. I feel like people will be like, hey, thanks, Jake, but remember, if it wasn't for Gary... Because in the character descriptions, there's a character, D.A. Jefferson, the district attorney, informed Zach and Andy, his lawyer, about the severity of Zach's most recent arrest. What I'm thinking is Andy decides to represent Zach due to the Hayden charges, but Andy isn't able to get Zach out due to the fact that that isn't her expertise of law. And as a result, Jake sends Bill Watts. Bill is a lawyer sent by Jake to help Zach with his arrest, and everything turns out well. Or you can flip it around where Bill is sent first, he isn't able to do it, and then Andy finds out about the whole Gary thing, and it's like, no, I got you. No, I think it should be Bill that gets Gary out. So, in my opinion, I think Gary is going to help him out. I think it's all cool. That's my opinion. But let me know what you think. I mean, the Gary who's with Aaron, you know, when they're hanging out, the Gary who's on the ball court, the Gary that's with Jake, I feel like this is a different Gary from when he was with Jasmine, a different Gary from when he's around Andy. That's just my thoughts. So let me know what you think. Do you think that Gary's going to screw Zach over, or do you think Gary is actually legitimately going to help? So with that being said, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Hit subscribe. We are less than 1,000 people away from 200,000 subscribers on the channel. Hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel. And if you'd like to donate a few bucks to the channel so I can get in the stocks myself, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App so I can give Gary a call.